guys know this story about Nicholas? Some of you do. All right, here's how it goes. Nicholas was made bishop for his city, and there was a terrible famine, and he was very concerned about his people, so he often worked to make sure that people had enough food to eat. One of the times where he saw that his people were in trouble was when he got to know that a family down the street did not have enough money for the oldest daughter to marry. Now, in those days, you needed to have what's called a dowry. So you needed to have some wealth to share when it came time for a wedding to take place. These were arranged marriages, and that was part of the deal. If there was no dowry, there was no deal, and there was no wedding. So if you were a poor family, and you were the oldest daughter, and there was no dowry, it was just a really big mosquito. If there was no dowry, then you would probably end up your life as a slave. And so it was a terrible thing. So Bishop Nicholas of Myra brought a bag of gold coins, and he walked to that house and he left it there inside so that the daughter would be able to get married. They didn't know where the coins came from. All they knew was that suddenly they had money for a dowry, and their daughter did not have to be a slave for the rest of her life. There were 3 daughters. The next one got older, and it was time for her to be married, and the family was still poor. They still did not have money. And so the bishop came by again with a small bag of coins. And the same thing happened for the 3rd daughter. He is known for that giving of gifts that you don't know where they come from, but are still acts of real generosity. The other thing that we know about Nicholas of Myra, well, I think we also know that he was a patron saint of sailors. Is that correct? For those who know about Nicholas, where's Mags? Yes. Patron saint of sailors as well as of children. He also made a long journey. He went over to Nicaea. Now, Nicaea is where all the bishops gathered together for the Council of Nicaea. If you, I don't know what page it is in the prayer book. If you open up the prayer book, you can see after the sermon comes the Nicene Creed. All right, we believe, that's it. Well, that Nicene Creed came from when those bishops gathered together hundreds of years ago to really hammer out in common language what we believed about who Jesus is. Well, Nicholas had a chance to go there. There was another bishop there, though, and he didn't like how that other bishop thought. That bishop was named Arius. And Arius thought that Jesus was cool, but not that cool. That he had perhaps not always been fully God and fully human. So he had a really different image about who Jesus was. And they were arguing about that. Well, Nicholas got so frustrated about what Arius kept on saying, how he kept on misrepresenting who Jesus was, that in the end, as far as we can tell, he went up and gave him a dope slap up the backside of the head. He is known for that to this day because he really cared about how you talked about Jesus, that he was fully human and also fully divine. So when I think about Nicholas, I think about how he worked very hard to make sure that his people had food. He gave gifts when nobody knew who it was coming from, and he paid attention to the lives of the poor. There are a lot of folks who, for those girls, they wouldn't have really paid attention, and they wouldn't have bothered to find money. But he was known for making generous gifts for people. So as part of that, if this was December 6th, because that's his feast day, if it was December 6th, then I might be in a parish and I might be handing around, let's see, what would be in there? Some gold coins. Oh, yes, gold coins. Think about this as coming from our friend Bishop Nicholas. Now, I've been told that Nicholas would be very unhappy if we left gold wrappers all over the forest floor. Is that correct? That we don't want Bishop Nicholas to be unhappy. So we will, of course, eat our candy, and then we will keep the foil. I think that's just part of the deal when you're dealing with bishops, you know.